The massive view screen aboard the Galactic Council's observation ship displayed a small blue planet, spinning slowly in the abyss of space. Its delicate atmosphere shimmered in the reflected light of its sun, but the scene was marred by the clutter of orbital debris, dead satellites, shattered spacecraft fragments, and the detritus of decades of primitive space travel. The sight made Ambassador Gray's upper lip curl in disgust. "These are the beings you wish us to consider for membership," he scoffed, his silver skin glinting under the soft lights of the command deck. His elongated fingers tapped idly on the polished console before him. "They haven't even managed to clean up their own orbit. Primitives." For 3 months, the Council's observation team had studied Earth from beyond the range of human detection systems. They had observed the clumsy rockets burning chemical fuel, the antiquated space station barely kept operational by inefficient solar panels, and the painfully slow missions to their red neighbor, Mars. It was like watching a child struggle to build with stones and sticks while the rest of the galaxy had long since mastered steel and circuitry. Gray turned to his assistant, an equally unimpressed highborn officer. "Look at them. They still rely on radio waves for communication." Radio waves. It's as if they haven't moved beyond shouting across a field. Laughter rippled through the observation deck. The highborn had seen countless developing species over the centuries, but humans seemed particularly backward. Their ships took months to reach Mars, a mere planetary neighbor, while highborn vessels could traverse the stars in a matter of days. Ambassador Gray sighed, shaking his head. "They are hopeless." On Earth, Admiral Marcus Stone sat in the United Nations Assembly Hall, his weathered face betraying no emotion as the alien delegation completed their presentation. The highborn, resplendent in their flowing silver robes, stood at the podium, the light gleaming off their metallic skin as if they were living statues. Ambassador Gray's lips curled into something resembling a smile. "Your species has 2 options," he announced, his voice carrying an air of finality. "Accept our guidance and protection as a client race, or face military action. We are generous, after all. We give you 1 Earth month to decide." The assembly hall erupted into hushed, worried whispers. World leaders exchanged nervous glances. But Admiral Stone remained still, his hands calmly folded in his lap, his expression unreadable. Gray's gaze flicked to the human officer, curiosity momentarily piercing his disdain. "You seem unconcerned, Admiral." Stone finally looked up, meeting the alien's gaze with an unsettling steadiness. "Humanity appreciates your generous offer, Ambassador Gray. We will provide our answer within the specified time frame." Gray's assistant leaned in, whispering, "They're even more primitive than we thought. No resistance at all." With an air of smug satisfaction, the highborn delegation turned, their robes sweeping behind them as they departed for their waiting shuttle. Aboard the highborn vessel, Gray reviewed the gathered intelligence once more. It only reinforced what he already knew: Earth was a primitive backwater. Their most advanced weapons were crude nuclear bombs, technology the highborn had rendered obsolete millennia ago. Their fastest ships used primitive ion drives, crawling through space like insects in molasses. Even their artificial intelligence was little more than a glorified calculator compared to the sentient systems the highborn employed. "This will be an easy conquest," he murmured, finalizing his report to the Galactic Council. "Species, human. Threat level, minimal. Military capability, negligible. Recommendation: proceed with colonization." These creatures barely grasped the fundamentals of space travel. They would make excellent workers once properly guided. Their planet was rich in resources. Their resistance capability was virtually non-existent. "They've already accepted their fate," Gray said with a smirk, sending the report. Beneath the Rocky Mountains, Admiral Stone leaned back in his chair, reading the intercepted transmission. A small, satisfied smile played at the corner of his lips. He pressed a secure channel to the United Earth Defense Council. "They took the bait," he said, his voice carrying the weight of years of preparation. All pieces are in position. Recommend we proceed with Phase 2. The games were about to begin. And humanity was playing for keeps. The elevator descended deep beneath the lunar surface, its reinforced walls humming with energy as it passed layer after layer of classified installations. Admiral Stone watched the depth counter tick past 2 kilometers. Few humans even knew about this facility. Fewer still knew its true purpose. As the doors slid open, he stepped into the vast lunar command center. The chamber stretched for nearly half a kilometer, its curved walls alive with glowing tactical displays. Thousands of ships that didn't exist on any official records, hovered in secure hangars, their dark holes drinking in the dim artificial light. "All fleets report ready, sir," Commander Wells announced, her fingers dancing across a series of holographic controls. "The Highborn still haven't detected our quantum shielding. Their scans pass right through our installations, just as planned." Stone walked to the observation window. Beyond the reinforced transparent aluminum, the void of space was filled with sleek, deadly warships. These were not the primitive rockets the Highborn had seen. These were humanity's real ships. "Show me the numbers," Stone ordered. The main display flickered to life. 1,500 main battle cruisers. 3,000 stealth frigates. 10,000 autonomous fighter craft. 50 mobile shipyards. 100 planetary defense platforms. All hidden. All ready. "Play the recording from 2089, Stone said quietly. The screen shifted, displaying an old video of a younger Admiral Stone standing beside Dr. Anna Reed, the physicist who had changed everything. "We've done it," Dr. Reed said, her eyes bright with barely contained excitement. "True faster-than-light travel." But then her expression darkened. "Admiral, the Hawking signals we detected, we're not alone out there. And some of them have been watching us." The video cut to the first detection of alien surveillance. That was the day humanity made its greatest decision. To hide. For 36 years, they had meticulously crafted an illusion of stagnation. They had launched outdated satellites, sent obsolete probes, and played the role of a struggling species, all while quietly building a war machine the likes of which the galaxy had never seen. Now, the time for deception was over. Alarms flared across the lunar command center. "The Highborn fleet is moving into attack formation," Commander Wells reported. "Just as we predicted. 100 Highborn warships, the vanguard of their invasion force, advanced toward Earth, their weapons primed." Stone opened a secure channel to the United Earth Defense Council. The 12 leaders of humanity's combined military forces appeared on the screen. "They've launched," he reported. "Standard combat formation. Exactly as expected. No stealth, no precautions. They're not even taking us seriously." Council Elder Reed, daughter of the physicist who had started it all, nodded grimly. "All these years of hiding, of playing weak, it ends today. You have authorization to proceed with protocol, Sleeping Giant." Stone turned to his crew. "Send the wake-up signal." Across the solar system, hidden bases activated. Beneath the surfaces of Mars, Venus, and dozens of asteroids, massive doors rumbled open. In the swirling storms of Jupiter, cloaked shipyards flickered to life. "Sir," Wells called out, barely suppressing a grin. "The Highborn fleet is broadcasting their demand for surrender." Stone allowed himself a small, satisfied smirk. "Send them our response." Message received. Initiating compliance procedures. Let them come a little closer. Let them think they had one. They were about to learn the truth the hard way. Humanity was never weak. We were waiting. Independence. Territory. The words hung heavy in the air of the Galactic Council chamber, carrying an authority no one had expected from a species once dismissed as primitive. The rock-born counselor, his crystalline form shimmering under the chamber's glow, leaned forward. His voice was like grinding stone. "And if we refuse?" Admiral Stone sat with his hands folded before him, his expression unreadable. "Then," he said evenly, "we demonstrate why hiding our strength for so long was a tactical choice, not a necessity." The chamber fell into a tense silence. The meaning was clear. Earth could have revealed itself decades ago. Instead, it had chosen patience. It had watched, listened, and learned. It had mapped out every council weakness, dissected their military capabilities, analyzed their tactical doctrines. For 36 years, the humans had played the role of primitives while carefully preparing for this moment. The highborn delegation was uncharacteristically quiet. Even their arrogance had limits, and the weight of Earth's deception was pressing down on them like a black hole. The chamber doors opened. Ambassador Gray entered, his usual confidence nowhere to be seen. His silver skin had dulled, and a haunted look lingered in his gaze. His hands shook slightly as he placed his report onto the council's central display. "Members of the council," he began, his voice strained, "I have witnessed their power firsthand." The chamber watched as the screen flickered to life, revealing images of human warships, sleek, dark, and utterly alien in their deadliness. "Their ships," Gray swallowed hard. "Their ships are generations ahead of ours in some areas. They have bases and fleets hidden throughout the galaxy. We never detected any of it." The highborn counselor's voice was a sharp hiss. "How?" His disbelief cracked through his usual composure. "How did they advance so quickly?" "They didn't," Gray admitted bitterly. "They advanced normally. But they hid it." A hush fell over the chamber. Gray's fingers tightened into fists as he spoke. "Every primitive rocket we observed was a carefully designed deception. Every outdated satellite was deliberate. They knew we were watching, so they showed us exactly what we expected to see." The council leader, her expression grave, slowly stood. "We must vote." Her voice carried the weight of history. War with Earth. A pause. Or acceptance of their terms. Before anyone could respond, the chamber's emergency alarms blared to life. New transmissions flooded the council's displays. Across the galaxy, from the outer colonies to the highborn homeworld itself, human ships began to decloak. Near every major military installation. Near every vital space lane. Near every council stronghold. They had been there all along. Watching. Waiting. The message required no words. Earth was ready. For either peace or war. And for the first time in history, the Galactic Council was not the one dictating the terms. For the first time, they faced the reality of losing. The Council deliberated. And in the end, they chose war. "Pride," Admiral Stone muttered, shaking his head as he read the Council's response. His expression hardened. "Their pride will cost them everything." The Lunar Command Center hummed with quiet urgency. The massive central screen displayed incoming reports. Across the galaxy, the Council's forces were mobilizing. 20,000 ships. The Highborn had called upon their allies. The Rockborn had pledged their massive dreadnoughts, each one a moving fortress of crystalline armor. The Warborn had sent their swift strike cruisers, vessels designed for rapid, devastating engagements. Even the deep space crystal mines had committed their energy web ships, capable of weaving electromagnetic storms across battlefields. Commander Wells exhaled, her eyes scanning the data feeds. "They think numbers will win this war." Stone allowed himself a thin smile. "They're about to learn differently." He turned toward his communications officer. "Send the activation signal to all shipyards." Across the solar system, hidden facilities rumbled to life. On Jupiter's moons, vast shipyards emerged from their cloaked fields, each one a Leviathan-sized construct capable of producing fully armed warships every hour. On Mars, the polar ice caps cracked open, revealing sprawling underground production lines stretching for thousands of kilometers. Even Mercury, the sun-scorched wasteland, split apart, revealing vast coolant systems that had secretly been harnessing the sun's immense power for the sole purpose of fueling humanity's war machine. Status of the quantum shield network? Stone asked. Wells barely suppressed a grin. Online and expanding. The enemy fleet won't be able to jump directly into the solar system. They'll have to fight their way through. Stone nodded. They had turned their entire solar system into a fortress. Every asteroid was a weapons platform. Every comet hid a network of sensors and missile systems. Even the empty space between planets was filled with invisible quantum tripwires. The aliens would bleed for every inch. Enemy fleet is on the move, Wells reported. They're taking the most direct route to Earth. Stone smirked. Of course they are. The aliens still fought in straight lines, in predictable formations, using tactics that hadn't changed in 10,000 years. They hadn't fought a real war in millennia. They had forgotten what it meant to think creatively. Stone turned to his staff. Launch Operation Trojan Horse. Deep in the Oort cloud, human stealth ships began to move. They had been hiding there for years, their cloaking fields making them invisible to all known sensors. While the alien fleet focused on Earth, these hidden ships would strike their supply lines, their shipyards, their homeworlds, their undefended colonies. Stone exhaled, watching the board light up with activity. It had begun. The first battle lasted less than an hour. The Council's 20,000 ships emerged from faster-than-light travel exactly where humanity expected them. They flew straight into the trap. A trap 36 years in the making. Commander Wells' voice was steady. Enemy fleet entering the quantum net now. Across the battle zone, hidden quantum generators powered up. The alien fleet stalled. Their faster-than-light drives cut out. Their weapons slowed to a crawl. Their communications turned to garbled nonsense. They were trapped. Their most fundamental laws of physics were no longer working in their favor. Stone gave the order. Launch the combat drones. From every asteroid, every hidden facility, every unseen base, thousands of autonomous war machines emerged. Each one guided by an AI that had learned from every war in human history. They moved with perfect precision, their tactics adapting in real time. The highborn flagship fired its main cannons. The energy beams crawled through space, as if wading through thick molasses. The drones simply moved aside. The enemy's shields tried to adapt. It didn't matter. Humanity had already bypassed them. Phase 2 initiated. The drones switched tactics. Instead of destroying, they disabled. Within 5 minutes, the entire alien fleet was powerless. Within 10 minutes, they surrendered. And the Galactic Council, once the unchallenged rulers of the stars, were now learning why humanity had smiled for 36 years while being underestimated. They had never been weak. They had only been waiting.